Hey y'all, hey, this is Lost in Dramas. It's been a hot minute. I'm just back with another fun video about all creatures great and small. So this series, if you're in the US, is airing currently on PBS. They're currently about to start their fourth season. I believe if you're in the UK, you can also watch it on BBC, but I feel like if you're in the UK, you probably know the backstory of this, so this might be a one to skip. But yeah, All Creatures Great and Small is a British television series. I think it came out in the 2020s on PBS for us on stateside. It's based off the autobiographical books by James Herriot, and they're set in the beautiful Yorkshire Dales in the 1930s. This follows the story of James Herriot, pronouncing that right, a young aspiring veterinarian. So Herriot moves to the picturesque countryside and works with Siegfried and his eccentric brother Tristan, who runs the Skelsdale House. Oh, I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. That's their veterinary practice. And basically the show explores the challenges and joys of rural veterinary work. It's got a lot of funny scenes, very warm. I just call it my wholesome veterinary show. That's what I would call it when I would tell my husband, oh, I'm starting to watch this, and you would hear the dun, 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 dun. Like the opening is really, really chill. I don't think I've ever watched a period drama that is more chill than this. So in this modern retelling of the story, you have James Herriot, played by Nicholas Ralph. He's basically the series protagonist. He's a young, optimistic veterinarian who moves to Darbury to work for the two brothers, and he faces all the challenges you can expect of rural veterinary life, and he becomes a well-loved community member. You also have Siegfried, the head of the veterinary practice. He's very experienced, and man, he just would always give James the hardest time. Despite his tough exterior, though, he really does care for animals, and he is a really good mentor to James. And then you also have Tristan, who's played by Calcum Woodhouse. That's Siegfried's younger brother. He's very mischievous, very carefree. He also works in the veterinary practice, and he's kind of like the comic relief in the story. Him and Tristan and James, they always get along, fight. And you also have Mrs. Hall. She's kind of like the housekeeper. She's kind of like this motherly figure that takes care of the two brothers and James. And yeah, basically she just kind of holds it down. I love her character. She just puts everybody in their place and keeps everybody in check. And she even fusses at Siegfried all the time when he kind of goes a little bit too far. And then I also honorable mention to Helen, who's played by Rachel Shelton. So she's a local farmer's daughter, and she becomes a very pivotal character in the series. Don't want to spoil anything because I'm up to season 4. But yeah, she also lives out in the Yorkshire Dales. So yeah, as I mentioned before, definitely check this series out. It is currently on Masterpiece Theater. Season 4 is literally about to start. They've got a fun little podcast that you can listen to behind the scenes. They've got a lot of great stuff on pbs.org. If you want, you might actually be able to watch it for free if you're caught up, or Masterpiece Theater. I believe the subscription is just like $5.99. I believe it's quite affordable. And yeah, this is definitely a show that you want to check out. So normally this is probably where I'd be like, oh, okay, thanks guys for watching. But this series, All Creatures Great and Small, actually, this is a remake. There was actually a series in 1978, and I actually had a lot of fun doing this deep dive on this series and who James Herriot was. So in 1978, there was actually a series with the exact same name that is titled All Creatures Great and Small. And for us folks in the US of A, you can watch that on Britbox with a subscription, Prime with a subscription, and the Roku channel, unfortunately, also with a subscription. Man, they really own these subscriptions. And it's wild because it's like the older show. But this is basically very similar to the more current show. Again, it's a autobiographical television series based on the autobiographical books by James Herriot, again set in the Yorkshire Dailies. It's got the same characters, just with a different cast, obviously. And it follows James Herriot, a newly qualified veterinarian from Glasgow. And I wanted to I'll share a couple articles in the description down below, because it was very interesting. So James Herriot wrote a book, but yeah, going back to the television show, yeah, he it just follows James Herriot, who in this version is played by Christopher Timothy. He arrives in the picturesque town of Derby to work as an assistant to the established veterinarian Siegfried. Again, it's quite literally the same show as the PBS one. Actually, I remember telling my mother-in-law, "Hey, have you watched All Creatures Great and Small?" And she said, "Yeah, I watched that a long time ago." And I was like, what? And so this is actually how I first heard kind of about the 1978 series. So the older cast for the original show includes Christopher Timothy, who plays James, Robert Hardy as Siegfried, Peter Davison as Tristan, and Carol Drinkwater. And yeah, and there's a couple other people in the cast, but yeah, definitely check that out if you have one of the subscriptions. I know I did a video previously about if you are interested in period dramas, how I think Britbox is a really good streaming service to have. They do have promotions and they have a lot of content on there. I used to have a subscription. It comes and goes. I think they've gone up to about $8.99 now. But they still, I feel like it's really, really worth it. They have a lot of current content on their period dramas. If you're interested in like British news, if you're interested in the British royal family, British crime, there's a lot on there. Like even just type it in just to see. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff on there. And this is also where you can watch the 1978 series. So since we're doing a deep dive into All Creatures Great and Small, I also wanted to introduce another television show. If you're interested, it's called the Yorkshire Vet. So this is more of a documentary series following the staff of the Skeldale Veterinary Centre. I'm so sorry, I probably pronounced that wrong. In Thirsk, North Yorkshire. And it was once the practice of the real James Herriot. So this in the States, I believe at one point it was on PBS, but right now you can watch it for free on Pluto TV, free on Roku, Amazon Prime, and I saw even Britbox come up, which is very interesting. But yeah, I had a look at that, and basically it's a very cute, very wholesome, a little stressful veterinary show, but it's, like I said, it's more of a documentary, so you're going to see like people's real animals and pets and the real vets going out and taking care of their calls. I don't want to say like trigger warning or for blood or anything like that. Also, just kind of keep yourself mindful of, they actually do show things. And then I know it's kind of difficult for some people to see animals in pain. And so that was very surprising, but it was a really interesting and very well done documentary that I believe it has 12 seasons and it's probably still going, I would say. So check that out on those streaming services. And then last but not least, so who was James Herriot? So he was born in Sunderland in 1916, and then he moved to Glasgow. During his childhood, he became captivated with the idea of helping sick animals, and so basically he went to school to become a qualified vet. And after he got his license, I think at Glasgow Veterinary College, he moved to a town called Thirsk in North Yorkshire, where he practiced veterinary medicine for almost 50 years. So probably, I wonder if you go there, it's probably, and I read an article, I'll post it here, where they have a statue dedicated to him. He also wrote a series of books, If Only They Could Talk. And unfortunately, he passed away from cancer in 1995 at the age of 78. But apparently his work was so well known that basically they made All Creatures Great and Small. And at this time, when I'm referencing this article, it looks like it was very popular on Channel 5 in the UK. So very interesting person, shout out to veterinarians all over the world, and really interesting to learn about the life and legacy of James Herriot. And it's very cool that, they're keeping his spirit alive with this television show. But yeah, that's all for me. A quick little deep dive into All Creatures Great and Small. Definitely check out any of the series, whether it's the 1978 version, the more recent, the 2000 version, or the documentary. I love that you have like choices of which one you want to watch. But yeah, that's all from me. This has been Lost in Dramas. Thank you for watching, and let me know if there's any period dramas that you would like me to deep dive into. Take care and Happy New Year. Bye-bye.